Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Carl. I'm your host, Carl Zoellner. I'm one of the attorneys here with Anderson Business Advisors. And today, our video, we want to talk a little bit about the difference between member-managed and manager-managed LLCs. There's some other videos in this series that'll talk about the difference between the membership position and manager position, but it's sort of at the crux of the entire situation is, how is your LLC going to be set up? Is it going to be set up as member managed or manager managed? It's one of those questions that actually, if you ask a lot of people, they're not sure, right? I mean, especially if you're going to go set up your own entity online, which one is better? Which one fits your scenario? Which one, what does each of them mean? So in this short video today, we're going to talk a little bit about what each of those things mean. So let's get started with member-managed LLCs. Number one is some states basically require you to designate whether they're member-managed or manager-managed. But in member-managed LLCs, it means all of the members of the LLCs are the manager. So the same folks who own the LLCs, which are the members, are all expected to have some sort of managerial discretion over the entity itself. Now, most commonly, I would use a member-managed LLC in a situation where I'm looking for maximum level of anonymity in a type of investment, and usually it'll happen with a passive investment. So for my real estate investors out there, if I'm looking at having a rental property, normally I'm going to have an LLC in the state where that rental property is located, and that LLC in that state is going to be listed as member managed, and that member and manager is going to be my Wyoming holding company or my Wyoming LLC, because Wyoming offers the highest level of charging order protection as well as allows you to file your business entities anonymously. So, in essence, making that state-specific LLC that will hold that rental property member managed, the only position that links back outside of that state-specific LLC is now that Wyoming LLC. And now when we look at that Wyoming LLC or go to the Secretary of State website to pull it up, the only thing that shows up on the website as far as who has some sort of discretion on the entity isn't you as an individual. The Secretary of State listing is only going to list the organizer of the business entity, and if you set up your entity with Anderson Business Advisors, it's going to be one of our employees who submitted the paperwork and organized the entity on your behalf in Wyoming. So it's a pretty neat little situation there. Now, manager managed. Let's talk about this side of the equation. On the manager managed side, that means that some of the members may be managers, or it can also mean that an outside third party can be a manager. So that outside third party could also be a business entity, or it can be an individual. Now, where is it most common to use manager-managed LLCs? Where it's important, or somebody could have maybe ease of access to see who has the capability to make decisions on behalf of the business entity. So a lot of times if we're looking at that, it's an active type of investment where that LLC would be set up, where you would have that manager-managed LLC and usually an individual listed as a manager, or it could be a business entity. Now, that from the real estate side, if we're looking here for the real estate investors, would be more common, say, on a flip project, also on a joint venture project. So if you're partnering with somebody on a flip, you could use a manager-managed LLC. That would be a multiple member LLC. And that way, both you and your partner could show up as manager. So if you need to sign documents or somebody wants some sort of verification, they could see that you two directly are the managers of that business. Now, remember some of our basic concepts we've talked about prior. We're not here when we're representing ourselves in our management capacity within our business, we're not representing ourselves as individuals. This is one of those things that's, for whatever reason, very confusing to lots of folks. But when I'm representing myself as a manager, it means I have the ability to bind the business. However, it does not necessarily designate that I own or I'm a member of the LLC, which we want to keep that separation. Now, in a member-managed LLC, if I was a member and the manager, so member managed setup, then I would be designating, if I signed as manager, that I'm also the member. So active businesses where we're dealing with outside third parties tend to be manager managed, and entities where we're trying to get the highest level of anonymity is usually where we're looking at member managed, because it'll link back to our Wyoming Holding LLC, which will then show us nothing. So hopefully that clarifies some of those questions that are out there. It's now that you know them, it's sort of something usually easy to grasp, but it takes a little bit of looking a lot of times to get where we're going there. So hopefully that helps everyone. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Coffee with Carl. As always, please keep taking advantage of all of our free content out there. If you are not yet a client, we'll be happy to see you when you come through one of our tax and asset protection classes that we offer. If you're just starting out, it's still important to have the knowledge. So like I say, keep taking advantage of all that free content out there. So until next time, thanks everyone, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Coffee with Carl.